আসসালামু আলাইকুম ভিউয়ার্স, আশা করি সকলে ভালো আছেন। আমাদের আজকের টপিক ব্রেন। যদি আপনি আমাদের চ্যানেলে নতুন হয়ে থাকেন, অবশ্যই আমাদের চ্যানেলটিকে সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন এবং পাশে থাকা বেল আইকনটি বাজিয়ে দিন। বেশি কথা না বাড়িয়ে চলুন ভিডিওটি শুরু করা যাক।
Okay, so now we're looking at the brain. So this first part of the brain, this large section here, is the cerebrum. And it's the part that most people distinctively recognize. It's got all these little cracks and ridges associated with it. The cracks called sulci, the ridges called gyri. Okay, we can see it sitting down here on top of the cerebellum. Okay, so cerebellum, cerebrum, and that's separated by a transverse fissure. The brain is separated into left and right hemispheres here, and it's separated by the longitudinal fissure. Okay. We also have the lateral sulcus, which is immediately apparent right here. Okay. Our central sulcus is found, it's a line that's going to separate all the way down here. Okay, so you can see the central sulcus here, and it has a precentral gyri and a postcentral gyri, pre being in the front, post being in the back. So the brain, the lobes of the brain, similarly follow the bones of the skull. So our frontal lobe sits over or underneath the frontal bone of the skull, parietal, occipital, and temporal. So looking underneath the brain, so remember we have our cerebrum and our cerebellum. You can also see the pons, this swollen region here, and the medulla oblongata. Okay, so now we're going to look at the cranial nerves. Okay, so you have 12 cranial nerves. So for this video, I've got both sides displayed of the brain. So on the right side is going to be the same as the left side here. On your individual exam, you'll notice that some of these are already labeled for you. 1, 2. Well, in your exam, you'll have this side, which doesn't have those labels, so you'll be responsible for knowing the names of these as well. Okay, so starting with the first. So this is our olfactory nerve, ending in the olfactory bulb. We have our optic nerve here, and our optic nerve crosses here at the optic chiasma. Okay. So if we look down inside, we can see number 3, the oculomotor. Okay. Moving over to number 4, we have the trochlear. 4 there, 4 there. Okay. The trigeminal is this larger nerve off to the side here. Okay. So we just went through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so in direct order. Now for the sixth one, we jump up top on top of the pons here. So this is our abducens, so 6. Then we go back down to 7 and 8. Okay, so 7 is our facial, 8 is our vestibulocochlear. Now we're on the medulla oblongata. Okay, so we have 9 right here, the glossopharyngeal, the vagus, 10, the accessory, and the hypoglossal, number 12, sits on top of the medulla oblongata. So if we cut the brain in half into its left and right hemisphere, right? So this is a half brain that we're looking at internally here. So we have our corpus callosum, which is actually the connection point between the left and right hemisphere. Remember, they're separated by that longitudinal fissure, which is where this brain would be cut. And so you have the corpus callosum there to communicate between. Let's see, you have the septum pellucidum, which would sit right here, and it actually separates 2 of our ventricles, our lateral ventricles. We have the mass intermedia here. You have the hypothalamus and the thalamus. Our pineal gland sits back in the back. The midbrain is right next to it. Again, we can see the medulla oblongata cut here and the pons cut here. We can see, so this is the cerebellum cut, and the arbor vitae, which is the white part, the white matter within the cerebellum. Okay, so this is just a different model of a cross section of a brain here. So to orient you now, we've got the corpus callosum still right there. The pineal gland will be this little pink dot back here. Now we can see the pituitary gland a lot better, sitting in the front up here. Pons, medulla oblongata, arbor vitae, massa intermedia, hypothalamus, thalamus.
আমাদের ভিডিওটি যদি ভালো লেগে থাকে অবশ্যই আমাদের চ্যানেলটিকে সাবস্ক্রাইব করুন এবং লাইক কমেন্ট শেয়ার করে আমাদের সাথেই থাকুন। আজকে এই পর্যন্তই, ধন্যবাদ।